The text message wasn't meant for me. Can't wait to feel you again. Thursday at the Riverside Inn, room 314. Delete this. I stared at my wife's phone screen, my coffee growing cold in my other hand. The device had buzzed on the kitchen counter while Emily was in the shower, and I'd glanced at it thinking it might be her mother. She'd been sick lately. Instead, I found myself reading words that made my stomach drop, like I'd missed the last step on a staircase. The sender was listed as Gym Personal Training. My hands started shaking. We'd been married for 11 years. We had 2 kids. Brandon was 9, Olivia was 6. Emily worked as a pediatric nurse at County General. I ran a small but successful HVAC business my father had left me. We lived in a 4-bedroom colonial in Oakmont, Pennsylvania, with a mortgage we were actually ahead on. We weren't perfect, but we were solid. Or so I'd thought. The shower was still running upstairs. I did something I never imagined I'd do. I opened her messaging app and scrolled back through the conversation with this contact. My heart hammered as I read. Tuesday was incredible. I can't stop thinking about what we did. You make me feel alive again, like I'm not just someone's wife and mother. He's working late again Thursday. We'll have plenty of time. The messages went back 3 months. 3 months of lies, of her kissing me goodbye in the morning and our kids good night, then texting another man about hotel rooms and feelings and things that made me want to put my fist through the granite countertop. I took photos of everything with my own phone. My hands were steadier now, operating on autopilot while my brain tried to process what was happening. I screenshotted conversations, scrolled through more contacts looking for anything else suspicious. There was another number saved as Work Dr. Patterson. The messages there were professional. So were the ones from school, Mrs. Walsh, Brandon's teacher. But Gym, personal training, was a goldmine of betrayal. The shower stopped. I heard the bathroom door open upstairs. I set her phone back exactly where it had been, grabbed my coffee, and walked to the living room like my entire world wasn't crumbling around me. Emily came down 10 minutes later in her scrubs, hair still damp, smelling like the lavender shampoo she'd used for years. She smiled at me. That same smile I'd fallen in love with when we were 23, working summer jobs at the boardwalk in Ocean City. "Morning, babe," she said, kissing my cheek. "You okay? You look pale." I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw her phone at her and demand answers. Instead, I heard myself say, "Didn't sleep great. Might be coming down with something." "There's a nasty cold going around the hospital," she said, pouring herself coffee. "Take some vitamin C. Oh, and I'm working late Thursday. We're short-staffed and I picked up an extra shift." Thursday. The day she was planning to be at the Riverside Inn with whoever this man was. "That's rough," I managed. "I'll handle dinner for the kids." She kissed me again, grabbed her travel mug, and headed for the garage. "Love you." The door closed. I sat there listening to her car back out of the driveway, wondering how someone could lie so easily, so naturally, to a person they'd promised to love and cherish. I called my business partner, Travis, and told him I needed the day to handle a personal emergency. Then I sat at my kitchen table and looked through the photos I'd taken, making sure they were clear and legible. They were. Every damning word was captured in high resolution. My phone buzzed. It was my sister Julie, asking if we were still on for Sunday dinner at Mom's place. I didn't answer. Instead, I opened my browser and searched for divorce attorneys in Pittsburgh. The first 3 websites all looked the same: professional headshots, promises of aggressive representation, free consultations. I picked the fourth result almost at random. Whitmore and Associates. The woman in the photo had kind eyes but a firm jaw. Her bio said she specialized in high-conflict divorce and asset protection. I called. A receptionist answered. "I need to speak with an attorney about divorce," I said. The word felt foreign in my mouth. "Of course. We have an opening this afternoon at 2 o'clock with Ms. Whitmore herself. Would that work?" I looked at the clock. It was 9:30 in the morning. "Yes, I'll be there. May I have your name?" David Patterson." I gave her the rest of my information and hung up. Then I sat there in my empty house listening to the refrigerator hum and the clock tick, trying to figure out when exactly my marriage had died. Had it been 3 months ago when the messages started? Or had it been dying slowly for years, and I'd just been too busy working and raising kids to notice? The school bus would pick up Brandon and Olivia in 20 minutes. I'd already gotten them ready this morning, made their lunches, helped Olivia find her library book. Emily had been upstairs the whole time, getting ready for work. I wondered if she felt guilty at all, if she thought about our kids when she was texting him, if she considered what she was risking, what she was destroying, for whatever this thing was. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a reminder about Brandon's soccer game on Saturday. I was the assistant coach. Emily always came to watch, brought orange slices for halftime, cheered louder than any other parent. How was she doing this? How was she living this double life so seamlessly? I heard the bus pull up outside. Through the window, I watched Brandon and Olivia climb aboard, their backpacks bouncing. Olivia waved at the house even though she couldn't see me. I waved back anyway, my throat tight. Then I pulled up the photos again and started planning. The attorney's office was on the 3rd floor of a converted warehouse downtown. I sat in the waiting room staring at a painting of a lighthouse while my phone buzzed in my pocket. Emily, checking in. I silenced it. "Mr. Patterson?" The woman who emerged wasn't what I expected. Late 40s, gray suit, reading glasses on a chain. She looked like someone's aunt. Her handshake was firm. "Janet Whitmore, come on back." Her office had windows overlooking the river. I sat in a leather chair that probably cost more than my truck payment. "Tell me what's going on." I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshots. She put on her glasses and scrolled through them, her expression unchanged. "How long have you known?" "Since this morning." "You haven't confronted her?" "No," she nodded. "That's good. Keep it that way for now." She handed back my phone. Pennsylvania is an equitable distribution state. The affair itself won't necessarily impact the division of assets, but it can affect alimony considerations. "I don't care about alimony." "You should. You're the higher earner, correct?" "My business does okay." "Annual revenue?" I told her. She wrote it down. "Children are 9 and 6? Brandon and Olivia. Both in school full-time?" "Yes." She made more notes. "Emily works at County General. What's her schedule?" 3 12-hour shifts, sometimes 4. "Nights?" "Days, mostly, 7 to 7. "And you run your business. What are your hours?" 8 to 5 usually, sometimes emergency calls. "Who handles childcare?" "We split it. My sister helps sometimes." She looked up. "I need you to start documenting everything. Every time you pick up the kids, every meal you make, every doctor's appointment you attend. Get a composition notebook, write it down. Don't use your phone." "Why not my phone?" "Discovery. If this goes to court, everything digital can be subpoenaed. A handwritten journal is harder to challenge and shows consistent, contemporaneous record keeping. I hadn't thought about that. Do you have joint accounts? Checking and savings. The business account is separate. How much in the joint accounts? I told her. I want you to withdraw half. Today. Open a new account at a different bank. Not the business bank, somewhere completely separate. Isn't that legal? Yes. You're entitled to half of the marital assets. If you wait and she finds out you know, she could clean out the accounts before you can protect yourself. I've seen it happen. My stomach turned. The idea of Emily doing that seemed impossible. But then, this morning, I would have said the affair was impossible too. What about the house? Who's on the mortgage? Both of us. Keep paying your half. Don't move out. If you leave, it can be used against you in custody proceedings. Makes it look like you abandoned the family home. I'm not leaving my kids. Good. Don't. She leaned back. Here's what I need you to understand. This is going to get ugly. Even if you and Emily think you can be civil, even if you both say you want what's best for the kids, divorce brings out the worst in people. I need you to be prepared for that. I thought about Emily this morning, kissing me goodbye, smiling at the kids. How long does this take? Depends. If she contests custody or the asset division, could be a year, maybe more. A year of this, a year of pretending. What about Thursday? What about it? Should I follow her, get more evidence? She was quiet for a moment. Do you want to see it? I hadn't considered that. Actually watching her walk into that hotel room. No. Then don't. You already have proof of the affair. Text messages are enough. Following her just traumatizes you further, and it won't change the legal outcome. So I just let her go? You let her think everything is normal while we prepare your case. Can you do that? I didn't know, but I nodded. I'll need a retainer. $5,000 to start. That covers the initial filing, documentation review, and preliminary negotiations. I had it in the business account. I could transfer it tonight. One more thing, she said. Do you know who he is? No. She has him saved as Jim, personal training. We'll find out. I work with a private investigator. He's discreet, thorough. He can identify the other party, document the affair, check for any complicating factors. Complicating factors? If he's married, if there are other relationships, if there's any financial entanglement. Information is power in these situations. I left her office with a list of instructions. Withdraw half the savings. Document everything. Don't confront. Don't move out. Act normal. The bank was 2 blocks away. I walked there in the late afternoon sun, passing people who looked like their lives made sense. The teller was young, maybe 22. She smiled when I handed her the withdrawal slip. Big purchase. Something like that. She counted out the cash. $43,000 in hundreds. I put it in the envelope she provided, then walked another block to a different bank. Opened a new account, deposited all but $5,000. My phone buzzed. Emily, again. How was your day? I stared at the message. Typed back, fine, yours? Busy, county's short-staffed again. When are you home? 6? Want me to pick up dinner? Sure. Chinese, okay? Perfect. I sent the retainer to Janet Whitmore through my business account, marked it as legal consultation. Then I drove to the office supply store and bought a composition notebook. Black and white cover, college ruled. Travis was locking up when I got to the shop. Thought you were taking the afternoon off. Just had some errands. He looked at me closer. You okay? Yeah, fine. You look like hell. Didn't sleep great? He nodded, not pushing it. Johnson Furnace is acting up again. Told him we'd look at it tomorrow. I'll handle it. You sure? I need to stay busy. He studied me another moment, then clapped my shoulder. All right, see you tomorrow. I sat in my truck in the parking lot and opened the composition notebook. Wrote today's date at the top of the first page. Morning. Made breakfast for Brandon and Olivia. Eggs and toast. Packed Brandon's lunch. Reminded Olivia about library books. Afternoon. Picked up both kids from school, helped Brandon with math homework, took Olivia to library. I stared at what I'd written. This was my life now. Documenting proof that I was a good father so I wouldn't lose my kids because my wife decided to sleep with someone else. My phone buzzed again. Home in 20. Got your favorite, General So's. I started the truck, drove home, pulled into the garage next to Emily's sedan. Inside, I could hear the kids in the living room. Some cartoon about talking animals. I put the notebook in my toolbox, locked it, and went inside. Brandon looked up. Dad, can we go to the park before dinner? It's almost dark, buddy. Please? Just for a little while? Olivia joined in. Please, please, please. I looked at them. 9 and 6. They had no idea their world was about to shatter. Okay, 20 minutes. They cheered and ran to get their shoes. I took them to the park 3 blocks away. Pushed Olivia on the swings while Brandon climbed the jungle gym. The evening air was cool. Other families were there, other fathers pushing swings, other kids laughing. My phone buzzed. Emily, home with dinner. 5 more minutes, I told the kids. Brandon hung upside down from the monkey bars. Can we come back tomorrow? Maybe. You always say maybe. Because sometimes maybe means yes. He grinned and flipped down. We walked home in the dusk. Emily's car was in the driveway. Through the kitchen window, I could see her setting out plates. Race you! Brandon took off running. Olivia grabbed my hand. I don't want to race. I want to walk with you. Okay, sweetheart. Daddy? Yeah? Are you sad? I looked down at her. 6 years old with Emily's eyes. Why do you ask? You look sad. I'm just tired. Oh. She squeezed my hand. Maybe you should take a nap. Maybe I should. We went inside. Emily had the food spread out on the kitchen table. She'd changed out of her scrubs into jeans and a sweater. Perfect timing, she said, kissing my cheek. I sat down, ate to General So's chicken, listened to Brandon talk about a science project, watched Emily help Olivia with her chopsticks. This was my life. This was my family. And on Thursday, my wife was going to room 314 at the Riverside Inn. The investigator's name was Kevin Walsh. He worked out of a small office above a dry cleaner in Monroeville, came recommended by Janet Whitmore, and charged $200 an hour plus expenses. I met him Tuesday morning after dropping the kids at school. His office smelled like coffee and the chemical scent from downstairs. He was maybe 50, gray at the temples, wearing khakis and a polo shirt. Not what I expected, but then I didn't know what to expect. Your attorney sent over the basics, he said, gesturing to a chair across from his desk. 3-month affair, meeting at the Riverside Inn. You've got text messages, hotel information. Thursday, I said. She told me she's working late. He nodded, opened a laptop. I pulled up her employment records, public information for County General. Emily Patterson, pediatric nurse, typically works 3 12-hour shifts per week, According to the schedule posted online, she's not on the roster for Thursday. My stomach tightened. I'd known she was lying, had the text messages proving it, but hearing the schedule confirmed made it more real somehow. What I need, Kevin said, is identification on the other party. Your attorney mentioned he's saved in her phone as a gym contact? Gym, personal training. Smart. Gives her an excuse for regular contact, explains absences. He pulled out a notepad. Does she actually go to a gym? I thought about it. She has a membership at Planet Fitness on Route 22. Goes maybe twice a week, sometimes 3 times. How long has she had the membership? 2 years, maybe longer. Kevin made a note. So the gym membership predates the affair. Means she might actually use it, just not every time she says she is. What about her phone? Does she keep it locked? Fingerprint. And you got in how? She was in the shower. Phone was on the counter, unlocked. He nodded. That's not going to happen again. Once was lucky. You try to access it now, she might notice. These things log access times if you know where to look. I hadn't thought of that. What I'm going to do, Kevin said, is run surveillance Thursday evening. Follow her from your house to wherever she goes, document who she meets, get photographs. Clear, identifiable images of both of them together. That gives us positive ID and evidence of the affair in one shot. She leaves at 6:30, I said. Told me her shift starts at 7. I'll be in position by 6. What'd she drive? Honda Pilot, silver, 2021. He wrote it down, asked for the license plate number. I pulled it up on my phone. I'd photographed everything in our garage over the weekend, part of documenting assets. Good, he said. I'll tailor to the hotel, wait for the other party to arrive, get photos of them together. Shouldn't take more than a few hours. What if she notices you? She won't. I've been doing this 16 years. People don't notice a middle-aged guy in a Toyota Camry. He paused. The hard part isn't the surveillance, it's what comes after. You ready for that? I've already talked to an attorney. I mean emotionally. Right now you're operating on adrenaline, anger, hurt. That carries you through the discovery phase. But once you have proof, photographs of your wife with another man, that's when it becomes real. That's when a lot of people fall apart. I looked at my hands. They were steady. I have 2 kids. I don't have the luxury of falling apart. Fair enough. He closed the laptop. My retainer is $3,000. That covers Thursday night plus preliminary research. If you need additional surveillance or background checks, we'll discuss rates. I'd brought a check, already filled out, handed it across the desk. Kevin glanced at it, filed it in a drawer. I'll call you Friday morning with results. Don't call me Thursday night asking for updates. I'll be working. Understood. One more thing. He leaned back in his chair. Your attorney probably told you this, but I'll say it again. Don't confront your wife before Friday. Don't let on that you know anything. People do stupid things when they panic. Delete evidence, move money, make accusations about you. Keep everything normal until we have complete documentation. I've been keeping it normal for 5 days. 2 more won't kill you. I went to work after that. Travis had a question about a commercial bid we were putting together for a medical complex in Cranberry. I looked at the numbers, made some adjustments, tried to focus on ductwork and HVAC units instead of my wife meeting another man in a hotel room. Failed, mostly. Travis noticed. You feeling okay? You've been off lately. Just tired, I said. Kids had me up late. He accepted that. We finished the bid, submitted it electronically, Moved on to scheduling installations for next week. Normal. Everything normal. Emily texted me at lunch. Can you grab milk on the way home? We're almost out. I stared at the message. Milk. She was planning her Thursday night with another man and asking me to buy milk. Sure, I typed back. Thanks. Love you. I didn't respond to that. That evening, I picked up Brandon from soccer practice. He was muddy, happy, talking about a goal he'd almost scored. Olivia had been with Emily at the grocery store. Apparently, milk wasn't the only thing we needed. Mom got ice cream, Olivia announced when we got home. Cookie dough. Emily was putting groceries away, smiled at me over Olivia's head. Thought we could have a treat tonight. It's been a long week. 2 days before she planned to cheat on me, she was buying ice cream for the family. I helped put groceries away. Noticed she'd bought my favorite beer, the expensive kind she usually said was a waste of money. Guilt purchases, maybe. Or maybe she'd always bought it, and I was reading into everything now. Probably the latter. We ate dinner together. Spaghetti, garlic bread, salad. Brandon talked about soccer. Olivia showed us a drawing she'd made at school, our family as stick figures, standing in front of our house. She'd drawn a sun with a smiley face and birds in a V formation. Emily hung it on the refrigerator with a magnet. Beautiful, sweetie, she said. I looked at the drawing. 4 stick figures holding hands. By Friday, that picture would be a lie. After the kids went to bed, Emily settled on the couch next to me. Some home renovation show was on TV. She leaned against my shoulder, her hair smelling like lavender shampoo. Tomorrow's gonna be long, she said. Late shift. I remember. I'll probably be exhausted when I get home. Don't wait up. Okay. She tilted her head to look at me. You sure you're feeling all right? You've seemed distant this week. The audacity of it. She was having an affair and asking if I was distant. Just work stress, I said. Big bid due. Couple of complicated installations coming up. You work too hard. She kissed my cheek. Don't forget to take care of yourself. I won't. She went back to watching TV. I sat there with her weight against my shoulder, her hand on my knee, and thought about Kevin Walsh sitting in a Toyota Camry tomorrow night, camera ready, waiting to document the end of my marriage. 2 more days of normal. I could do 2 more days. Wednesday crawled past. I wrote in the journal Janet Whitmore had told me to keep. Took Brandon to soccer practice, 5:30, 6:45 p.m. Helped Olivia with reading homework, 7 to 7:30 p.m. Documented everything, building my case for custody. Emily worked her actual shift Wednesday, came home tired at 8:30. I'd already fed the kids, helped with homework, managed bedtime. She thanked me, kissed me, went upstairs to shower. I sat in the living room and waited for Thursday. I woke up Thursday morning before the alarm. 5:30. Emily slept beside me, her breathing steady and even. I got up, showered, went through the motions. Downstairs, I made coffee and checked my phone. Kevin had sent a text at 11 the night before. In position by 2 p.m., we'll update as situation develops. I made breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast. Brandon came down first, then Olivia. Emily appeared at 6:45 in her scrubs, hair pulled back, looking exactly like she always did before a shift. You're up early, she said, pouring coffee into her travel mug. Couldn't sleep. She kissed my cheek. You feeling okay? Fine, just restless. The kids ate their eggs. The school bus came at 7:20. Emily left at 7:30, calling out her usual goodbye. Love you guys. I watched her car disappear down the street. Then I called Travis. Hey, he answered. What's up? I need you to cover today. Everything. I can't be there. Silence for a moment. David, what's going on? I can't explain right now. I just need today. All right, yeah, okay, I've got it. Thanks. I hung up and sat on the kitchen table with my phone, waiting. Kevin's first text came at 2:14 p.m. Subject arrived at Riverside Inn, room 314, alone. I stared at the message. My hands weren't shaking. I felt nothing, really. Just a kind of hollow coldness. At 2:47 p.m., another text. Second party arrived. Male, white, approximately 40-45. Business casual, entering room 314 now. I set the phone down on the counter, picked it up again, put it down. At 4:23 p.m., Kevin sent a photo. The image showed Emily and a man leaving the hotel together. She was wearing jeans and a sweater, not her scrubs. She'd changed somewhere. The man had his hand on the small of her back. They were both smiling. I didn't recognize him. Kevin's text followed immediately. Subjects departing. Obtained clear photos. Video of entry and exit. Room registered under male subject's name. Michael Brennan. Running background now. Michael Brennan. I Googled the name with Oakmont, Pennsylvania. Added. The first result was a website for Brennan Investigations. Private investigator. Licensed in Pennsylvania and Ohio. Specializing in domestic cases, background checks, surveillance. A private investigator. I sat there looking at his website. Professional headshot. Confident smile. 20 years of experience. Discretion guaranteed. My wife was sleeping with a private investigator. Kevin called at 5:15 p.m. I'm sending you everything, he said. Photos, video, timeline. Michael Brennan, age 43, divorced. Runs his own PI firm out of an office on Grant Street. No criminal record. Clean license with the state. How long? I asked. How long what? How long have they been doing this? Based on what you showed me, 3 months. But I can dig deeper if you want. Financial records, phone records. See if there's more. Do it. You got it. I'll have a preliminary report to you by tomorrow. After he hung up, I sat in the living room and waited for Emily to come home. She walked in at 6:52 p.m. wearing her scrubs again. She must have changed back before leaving the hotel. Hey, she said brightly. Sorry I'm late. Crazy day. No problem. She dropped her bag on the counter and kicked off her shoes. What do you want for dinner? I'm not hungry. She looked at me. You okay? You look tired. I'm fine. She came over and put her hand on my forehead. You feel warm. Are you getting sick? I pulled back. I said I'm fine. Something flickered in her expression. Concern, maybe. Or suspicion. Okay, she said slowly. I'll make something for the kids. Friday morning, Kevin's full report arrived via encrypted email. 43 pages. I read it in my truck in the parking lot of a grocery store 2 miles from the house. Michael Brennan. Divorced 8 years ago. One daughter, age 16, living with her mother in Columbus. He'd started his PI business 12 years ago after leaving the Pittsburgh Police Department. Specialization in infidelity cases, background investigations, corporate due diligence. Kevin had pulled phone records. Emily's cell showed regular contact with a number registered to Brennan starting 4 months ago, not 3. The frequency increased over time. Dozens of calls, hundreds of texts. But there was more. Kevin had cross-referenced Brennan's business records with public databases. Over the past 18 months, Brennan had filed incorporation papers for a second business entity, Brennan Consulting Services, LLC. The business address was a P.O. box. No website, no public presence. Kevin's notes flagged it as unusual. A PI with a second hidden business. He'd requested financial records but hadn't received them yet. Then I got to page 37. Kevin had run a background check on Emily's employment at County General. Standard procedure, he said, to verify her schedule claims. Her employment was verified. Pediatric nurse. 5 years at County General. But Kevin had also checked her professional licenses. Emily held 2 active licenses in Pennsylvania. Registered nurse and licensed professional counselor. I read that line 3 times. Licensed professional counselor. I'd known Emily was a nurse. That's what she did. That's what she'd always done. I didn't know she had a counseling license. I called Kevin. The counseling license, I said when he answered. When did she get that? Issued 6 years ago. She completed a master's program at Duquesne. It's been active ever since. She never told me. You didn't know? No. Kevin was quiet for a moment. That's strange. Is she using it? Is she working as a counselor? Not that I can find. Her primary employment is nursing. But the license is active, which means she's maintaining it. Continuing education credits, fees, all current. Why would she hide that? I don't know, but I'll find out. I went home and searched the house. Emily was at work. The kids were at school. I had hours. I started in her office upstairs. A small room we'd converted from a spare bedroom. She used it for paperwork, bills, online shopping. I'd been in there 1,000 times. I went through her desk drawers, files, old tax returns, medical records for the kids. Nothing unusual. Her computer was password protected. I didn't know the password. I checked her bookshelf. Nursing textbooks, a few novels, photo albums. Then I saw them. 3 books on the bottom shelf, spines facing out. Foundations of Couples Therapy. Ethics in Clinical Counseling. Cognitive Behavioral Approaches to Marriage and Family Therapy. I pulled one out. The cover was worn, pages dog-eared, highlighted passages throughout. I opened the front cover. Emily's handwriting. Emily Patterson, LPC. Duquesne University, 2018. 2018, 6 years ago, the year Olivia was born. I sat on the floor and flipped through the book. Notes in the margins, underlining. She'd studied this extensively, but she'd never mentioned it. Never said a word about going back to school, getting a master's degree, becoming a licensed counselor. How had I not known? I thought back. 2018, Olivia's birth. My dad's health declining. The business expanding. I'd been distracted, overwhelmed. Emily had been pregnant, then caring for a newborn. I'd assumed she was busy with that. But she'd been doing this, studying, training, getting licensed. And she'd hidden it from me. I found the recording equipment in the basement. It was in a plastic storage bin labeled Holiday Decorations, shoved behind the Christmas tree boxes. Inside, a professional-grade digital recorder, 3 small wireless microphones, a laptop I'd never seen before, and a portable hard drive. I opened the laptop. No password. The desktop had a single folder. Client sessions. I clicked it. Hundreds of audio files, each labeled with initials and dates. The dates went back 18 months. I clicked one at random. A couple's voices filled the room through the laptop speakers. I don't know how to say this, the woman was saying. I've been having an affair. The man's voice, shocked. What? A third voice, calm and professional. Emily's. Let's take a moment. This is a safe space. We're here to work through this together. I closed the file and opened another. Different voices. Another couple, talking about financial problems. debt, hidden credit cards. Emily's voice again, guiding the conversation. I checked the file properties. Recorded 3 months ago. I opened file after file. Couples therapy sessions. Marriage counseling. People confessing affairs, addictions, financial crimes, abuse. And Emily recording everything. I found a separate folder labeled transcripts. Inside were typed summaries of each session. Key confessions highlighted. Names, addresses, financial details. Another folder, payment records. Spreadsheets. Names I recognized from the session files. Dollar amounts. Dates. Payment methods. One entry. James and Patricia Whitfield. $15,000. Wire transfer. 3/12/2024. Another. Robert and Christine Yang. $22,000. Cash. 4/8/2024. Dozens of entries. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. I sat there staring at the screen. Emily wasn't just having an affair, she was blackmailing her therapy clients. I sat in my truck outside a strip mall in Moon Township, staring at the third-floor window of an office building. The sign next to the entrance listed Brennan Consulting Services, LLC, Suite 3112, among the tenants. Kevin had texted me the address 20 minutes ago. The building looked legitimate. Ground floor held a dentist and an insurance agency. Upper floors were professional offices. Nothing about it screamed criminal enterprise. My phone buzzed. Kevin. Inside. Receptionist confirms Brennan runs background checks, surveillance, corporate investigations. Looks like standard PI firm. I typed back. Any connection to therapy practice? Kevin. Not obvious. Asking about employment verification services now. I watched a woman in business attire exit the building, talking on her phone. Normal Wednesday afternoon. Normal business. Nothing felt normal anymore. My phone rang. Kevin. You need to see this, he said. I'm in the parking garage. Gray level, near the elevator. I found him leaning against a black Audi sedan. He held up his phone. Brennan's car, registered to the LLC. He walked to the trunk. Look at the bumper. A parking permit sticker. Oakmont Medical Plaza. That's where County General contracts their outpatient services, I said. Right. So why does a private investigator have regular access to a medical facility? Kevin photographed the sticker. I checked the visitor logs you got from Emily's planner. Every Tuesday and Thursday for the past 6 months, she has OMC written in the evening slots. Oakmont Medical Center. Exactly. Kevin pulled out a tablet, showing me a document. I requested public records for business licenses. Emily Patterson registered Pathways Counseling Services as a DBA in 2019. Business address listed as 2847 Medical Plaza Drive, Suite 220. The Oakmont Medical Plaza. She's running a therapy practice, I said. Recording sessions, blackmailing clients. With Brennan providing the investigative work. Kevin swiped to another document. Look at the LLC formation papers for Brennan Consulting, filed in 2019. Same month Emily registered her DBA. They'd planned this together from the beginning. I need to see that office, I said. Kevin shook his head. Building security. You need a key card after hours and daytime means witnesses. Then we get creative. Thursday morning, Emily kissed me goodbye at 6:30. Late night tonight, she said. Probably won't be home until 11. County General? She grabbed her purse. Love you. The door closed. Her car pulled out of the driveway. I waited 10 minutes, then called Kevin. She's gone, I said. We have until 11. The Oakmont Medical Plaza sat on the edge of a corporate park, a 3-story glass and brick building surrounded by landscaped grounds. Kevin's van was already in the parking lot when I arrived at 7:15. Suite 220 is on the second floor, he said. Northeast corner. I've got a guy who can get us in, but it'll cost $1,500. Do it. 20 minutes later, a maintenance worker in his 50s approached the building entrance. Kevin handed him an envelope. The man nodded, swiped his card, and held the door. 30 minutes, he said. I'm on my smoke break. Don't touch anything you don't have to. We took the stairs. The second-floor hallway was empty, doors closed and dark. Suite 220 had frosted glass with Pathways Counseling Services, L. Patterson, LPC, stenciled in gold letters. L. Patterson. Her maiden name was Lawson. Kevin used a lockpick gun. The door opened in 15 seconds. The reception area was small but professional. 2 chairs, a coffee table with magazines, a desk with a computer. Framed certificates on the wall. Emily's master's degree from Duquesne University, her Pennsylvania counseling license, professional association memberships. All in her maiden name. She's kept this completely separate, I said. Different name, different identity. Kevin moved to the desk, pulling on latex gloves. Computer's password protected. I'll need more time to crack it. I walked past the reception area into the therapy office itself. The room was designed for comfort. 2 armchairs facing each other, a couch against one wall, soft lighting. A bookshelf filled with psychology texts. A small table with a tissue box and a white noise machine. And cameras. Tiny lenses embedded in the bookshelf, the ceiling smoke detector, the picture frame on the wall. I counted 4 before Kevin came in behind me. She's recording everything, he said. Professional setup, probably motion activated. I opened the desk drawer. File folders, each labeled with initials and dates. I pulled one at random. TM and KM, marital therapy, Jan 2024 to present. Inside were session notes, typed and clinical. Beneath them, printed transcripts of conversations. TM. I swear, if she finds out about the offshore accounts, I'm finished. KM. Then maybe you shouldn't have hidden $2 million from me. The next page was a payment ledger. $5,000, February 15th. $10,000, March 3rd. Another $5,000, March 28th. $20,000 extracted from one couple. I pulled another file. DR and AR, more transcripts, more payments, $35,000 over 4 months. Kevin photographed everything with his phone. How many files are here? I counted. 18. Jesus. I found a locked filing cabinet against the wall. Kevin had it open in seconds. Financial records. Bank statements for an account in the Cayman Islands under Pathways Holdings Limited. Deposits ranging from $5,000 to $50,000. The current balance was over $400,000. She's been doing this for years, Kevin said. Look at the dates. First deposit is September 2019. 5 years of blackmail. I photographed the bank statements, the payment ledgers, the session transcripts. Kevin copied files from the computer onto a flash drive after bypassing the password screen. We need the recordings, I said. Kevin pointed to a locked closet. Inside were hard drives, each labeled by month and year. 5 years of therapy sessions, all recorded without consent, all used for extortion. I grabbed the most recent drive. How do we prove Brennan's involved? Kevin held up a folder from the desk. Email printouts. Correspondence between Emily and Brennan about client research. He's been running background checks, finding financial vulnerabilities, identifying which couples have the most to lose. The emails were clinical, professional. No mention of love or affair, just business. Michael. Need full financial workup on TM. Looking for hidden assets, offshore holdings, anything KM doesn't know about. E. Emily. TM has accounts in Cayman, Switzerland, and Singapore. Total approx 3.2 meters. Wife has no knowledge. Details attached. M. They'd turned therapy into a hunting ground. My phone buzzed. The maintenance worker. 25 minutes. Wrap it up. We need to go, Kevin said. I took one last look around the office. The comfortable chairs where couples sat, vulnerable and trusting. The hidden cameras recording their confessions. The files documenting their pain, their secrets, their money. Emily had built this, planned it, executed it with precision. And I'd had no idea. Back in my truck, I called Janet Whitmore. I need to come in, I said. Today. I have evidence of multiple felonies. What kind of evidence? Extortion, illegal recording, violation of therapist-client privilege, financial crimes. I gripped the steering wheel. My wife has been blackmailing her therapy clients for 5 years. She's made over $400,000. Silence on the line. David, this is beyond divorce proceedings. You need to contact law enforcement. I will, but I need your advice first. If I report this, what happens to my family? My kids? Emily will likely face criminal charges, extortion, wiretapping violations, professional misconduct. She could be looking at significant prison time. Janet's voice was careful. The clients will probably sue for damages. The state psychology board will revoke her license. And Brennan. If he's complicit, he faces conspiracy charges. His PI license will be revoked. I watched people walk in and out of the medical plaza. Normal people going to normal appointments. None of them knowing what happened in Suite 220. What do? I asked. Document everything. Make copies of all evidence. Then contact the Pennsylvania State Police and the State Board of Social Workers, marriage and family therapists, and professional counselors. They'll handle the investigation. Emily's supposed to meet Brennan tonight. Should I stop her? No. Let it happen. It establishes the ongoing nature of their relationship and the conspiracy. Janet paused. David, once you report this, there's no going back. Emily will be arrested. Your marriage is over. Your children will have to process their mother being charged with felonies. I thought about Brandon and Olivia, about the life we'd built, about the woman I'd married 11 years ago. That woman didn't exist anymore. Maybe she never had. I'll make the calls, I said. I sat in my truck outside the county courthouse for 20 minutes before going in. The building looked the same as it had when I'd pulled permits for the business. Gray stone, wide steps, American flag snapping in the wind. But I wasn't here about permits. I had copies of everything in the messenger bag on my passenger seat. Bank statements, recordings, client lists, payment schedules. 6 years of lies documented in 300 pages. Kevin had delivered his final report 2 days ago. He'd traced the blackmail operation back to its beginning. The first client Emily and Brennan had targeted was a couple named Thomas and Rebecca Lawson. The husband had confessed during therapy to embezzling from his family's manufacturing company. Emily had recorded it. Brennan had verified the details. They'd demanded $50,000. The Lawsons had paid. That was 5 years ago. Since then, 18 couples had been systematically extorted. The amounts varied based on what Brennan's background checks revealed about their finances. The lowest payment was $12,000. The highest was $85,000. Total take, $423,000. I grabbed the bag and headed inside. The Pennsylvania State Board of Psychology occupied the third floor. The receptionist looked up when I entered. She was maybe 60, with reading glasses on a beaded chain. "Can I help you?" "I need to file a complaint against a licensed counselor." She pulled out a form. "Name of the licensee?" "Emily Patterson. She practices under her maiden name, Emily Caldwell." The receptionist typed something into her computer. "I have her listed. What's the nature of your complaint?" "She's been secretly recording therapy sessions and using the recordings to blackmail her clients." The typing stopped. "I'm sorry?" "I have documentation, recordings, bank records, a list of victims." She stood up. "Wait here." 5 minutes later, I was sitting across from a man named Robert Finley. His title was Compliance Director. He had gray hair and the kind of face that had heard everything. I opened the messenger bag. "My wife is Emily Patterson. She's a licensed professional counselor operating as Pathways Counseling Services. For the past 5 years, she's been recording her therapy sessions without client consent and using those recordings to extort money from couples who confess to crimes or other damaging information during counseling." I slid the first folder across his desk. "This is a list of 18 couples she's blackmailed. Dates, amounts paid, account numbers for where the money was deposited." Finley opened the folder. His expression didn't change, but his jaw tightened. I gave him the second folder. "These are transcripts from recorded sessions. You'll see highlighted sections where clients made confessions that were later used as blackmail leverage." The third folder. "Bank statements showing deposits matching the extortion payments. The account is in the Cayman Islands under Emily's maiden name." The fourth folder. "Background checks conducted by her accomplice, Michael Brennan. He's a private investigator. He vetted potential victims before Emily accepted them as clients." Finley looked up. "How did you obtain this information?" "I hired an investigator after discovering my wife was having an affair. The affair led to the blackmail scheme." "And you have physical evidence of the recording equipment?" "Not yet, but I know where it is." He leaned back in his chair. "Mr. Patterson, what you're describing constitutes multiple felonies: extortion, wire fraud, violation of therapist-patient confidentiality. This goes beyond our board's jurisdiction." "I know, but I wanted to start here because these people trusted her. They went to therapy to save their marriages, and she turned their confessions into a criminal enterprise. The psychology board needs to revoke her license before she destroys anyone else." Finley was quiet for a moment. "I'll need to verify this information. If what you're alleging is accurate, we'll open an immediate investigation and suspend her license pending a hearing. But you need to take this to law enforcement. Today. That's my next stop." He stood and offered his hand. "Thank you for coming forward. I know this can't be easy." I shook his hand and left. The police station was 4 blocks away. I asked for someone in the fraud division and was directed to a detective named Lauren Briggs. She was maybe 40, with short dark hair and a no-nonsense expression. I went through the whole thing again. The affair, the secret degree, the therapy practice, the recordings, the blackmail. She listened without interrupting, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, she said, "Do you have access to your wife's office?" "She operates out of a rented space downtown. I have the address, but not a key." "What about the recording equipment?" "I believe it's hidden in the office. Kevin, my investigator, thinks she's using voice-activated recorders concealed in the furniture or wall fixtures." Briggs tapped her pen against the pad. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take your statement and review your documentation. If everything checks out, I'll get a warrant to search her office and seize any recording equipment. We'll also freeze the offshore account and issue arrest warrants for both your wife and Michael Brennan. How long? 48 hours, maybe less. I nodded. Mr. Patterson, I need to ask, does your wife have any indication you know about this? No, she thinks I'm oblivious. Keep it that way. Don't confront her. Don't let her know you've been here. If she gets spooked, she'll destroy evidence. Understood. Briggs stood. I'll be in touch. Leave your contact information with the front desk. I walked out of the police station at 3:30. The afternoon felt surreal. I'd just set in motion the complete destruction of my wife's life. In 48 hours, she'd be under arrest. Her license would be suspended. Her victims would know what she'd done. And I still had to go home and pretend everything was normal. I picked up Brandon and Olivia from school. Olivia talked about a science project involving volcanoes. Brandon needed a poster board for history class. Normal kid stuff. Emily got home at 6. Hey, she said, kissing my cheek. How was your day? Fine, finished the install on Fletcher Street. That's good. She started making dinner, chicken and rice. She hummed while she cooked. I watched her move around the kitchen and tried to reconcile this person, my wife of 11 years, mother of my children, with the criminal I'd just reported to the police. It didn't compute. David? I looked up. Yeah? You okay? You seem distracted. Just tired, long day. She smiled. Well, dinner's almost ready. Can you get the kids? Sure. We ate together. Emily asked Brandon about soccer practice. Olivia showed her a drawing from art class. Everything was normal. After dinner, I helped with homework while Emily gave Olivia a bath. At 8:30, we put the kids to bed. Emily settled on the couch with a book. I sat in the recliner with my laptop, pretending to check work emails. My phone buzzed. Kevin. Briggs called me, gave a statement. She's moving fast. I typed back, good. Kevin. How you holding up? Me. One day at a time. Kevin. Call if you need anything. I set the phone down. Emily glanced over. Work stuff? Yeah. Travis had a question about the schedule. She went back to her book. I looked at her and wondered if she felt anything. Guilt, fear, remorse. Or maybe she'd compartmentalized it so completely that she could sit here reading while 18 families lived under her threats. My phone buzzed again. Janet Whitmore. Heard you filed the board complaint. Well done. Keep me posted on the criminal investigation. Me. Will do. Janet. Remember, don't engage, let the system work. Me. I know. I put the phone away and closed the laptop. I'm going to bed, I said. Emily looked up. Already? It's only 9. Exhausted, she smiled. Okay, I'll be up soon. I went upstairs and lay in the dark, listening to the house settle around me. In 48 hours, detectives would execute a search warrant on Emily's office. They'd find the recording equipment, they'd seize her client files, they'd arrest her. And then 18 couples would learn that their therapist had betrayed them in the worst possible way. I thought about the Lawsons, about the other victims, about how they'd trusted Emily with their deepest secrets, and she'd turned those secrets into weapons. My phone lit up with a text. Emily. Love you. Come back down if you can't sleep. I stared at the message. Then I turned off the phone and closed my eyes. 2 more days. The search warrant was scheduled for tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I sat in my truck outside County General at 5:47 p.m., watching the employee entrance. Emily's shift ended at 6. She'd be walking out those doors in 13 minutes, completely unaware that her entire life was about to collapse. My phone buzzed. Kevin. Brennan just left his office, heading east on Fifth Avenue. Thanks. I ended the call and stared at the hospital entrance. A few nurses trickled out, scrubs visible under winter coats. Not Emily yet. Detective Briggs had been cleared during our meeting this afternoon. The warrant would be executed simultaneously at 3 locations: our house, Emily's office at the wellness center, and Brennan's apartment. Coordinated arrests. They didn't want either of them destroying evidence or warning the other, which meant I had roughly 12 hours before Emily came home in handcuffs. The kids were at my sister Julie's house. I'd told them we were having a special sleepover night because Daddy had to fix an emergency furnace. Brandon had been thrilled. Olivia had packed her stuffed elephant without questions. Julie didn't know the real reason. Nobody did except Kevin, Janet, and now Detective Briggs. Emily emerged at 5:58, pulling her coat tight against the February wind. She walked to her accord, got in, started the engine. I watched her check her phone, type something, set it down. Meeting Brennan tonight? Or just texting him about tomorrow's session with another couple they planned to bleed dry? She pulled out of the parking lot. I didn't follow. I knew where she was going. Home. To the house we'd bought together 9 years ago. To the kitchen where she'd kiss me hello and ask about my day. To the living room where we'd eat dinner, and she'd mention something mundane about work while hiding the fact that she was a criminal. I drove to the Oakmont Diner instead. The place was nearly empty. I took a booth in the back and ordered coffee I wouldn't drink. The waitress, maybe 22 with tired eyes, brought it without comment. My phone sat on the table. I kept checking it, though I didn't know what I was waiting for. At 6:47, Emily texted, "Where are you? Dinner's ready." I stared at the message. She'd made dinner. Of course she had. Emily always made dinner on Tuesdays. Emergency call, furnace out at the Riverside Medical Building. Might be late. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Okay, I'll save you a plate. Love you. I set the phone down and looked out the window at the parking lot. A few cars scattered under yellow streetlights. Normal people living normal lives. The waitress refilled my coffee. You okay, hun? Yeah, just waiting. She nodded and moved to the next table. At 7:15, my phone rang. Janet Whitmore. David, just confirming you're not at the house. I'm not. Good. Detective Briggs wants to make sure you're somewhere with witnesses when the warrant is executed, in case Emily tries to claim you planted evidence. I'll be at my shop. Travis will be there. Perfect. I'll meet you at the police station at 8 a.m. They'll want your statement after the arrest. What about the kids? Keep them with your sister until this is processed. We'll figure out custody arrangements once Emily's arraigned. Arraigned. The word felt surreal. David, you did the right thing. These people deserve justice. I ended the call without responding. At 8:03, I drove to the shop. Travis was still there, finishing paperwork in the office. Thought you had an emergency call, he said. Finished early. He glanced at me, frowned. You look like hell. Didn't sleep much. Emily okay? I opened the file cabinet and pretended to look for something. She's fine. Travis went back to his paperwork. I sat at the desk and opened my laptop, pulled up the spreadsheet I'd created. 18 couples. Names, dates, amounts paid. The Caldwell family had paid $47,000 over 2 years. The Porters, $31,500. The Yoshidas, $28,000. All of them thinking they were paying to protect their marriages, to keep their secrets safe. Instead, they'd been funding Emily's offshore account and her affair with Brennan. My phone buzzed at 8:47. Emily again. Are you coming home tonight? Late job. Don't wait up. Okay, be safe. I set the phone down. Travis looked up from his paperwork. You sure you're okay? Yeah. He didn't believe me, but he didn't push. At 10:30, he left. I stayed at the shop staring at the spreadsheet until the names blurred together. At 11:15, I drove home. The house was dark except for the porch light. Emily's car sat in the driveway. I parked on the street instead of pulling into the garage. Inside, everything looked normal. Emily had left a plate for me in the fridge, covered with plastic wrap. Chicken, roasted vegetables, rice. I threw it in the trash. Upstairs, the bedroom door was closed. I could hear Emily's breathing, steady and deep. Asleep. I went to the guest room and lay on the bed fully clothed, staring at the ceiling. At 5:47 a.m., my alarm vibrated. I silenced it and got up. Emily was still asleep. I could hear her through the wall, that same breathing pattern I'd listened to for 11 years. I went downstairs and made coffee. The house was silent except for the refrigerator hum and the coffee maker gurgling. At 5:58, I heard Emily's alarm. Footsteps above me. The shower running. She came downstairs at 6:23, dressed in scrubs, hair still damp. You're up early, she said. Couldn't sleep. She poured coffee into her travel mug. You were out late. Told you. Emergency job. She nodded, checking her phone. Probably texting Brennan. Probably coordinating their next blackmail payment or planning their next meeting at the Riverside Inn. I have a full day, she said. 3 sessions at the Wellness Center, then my shift at County General. 3 sessions. 3 more couples walking into her office, thinking they were getting help. Okay. She kissed me on the cheek. Same kiss as always. Same lavender shampoo smell. Love you, she said. I watched her grab her purse and head to the garage. At 6:28, her car backed out of the driveway. At 6:31, my phone buzzed. Detective Briggs. We're moving in. Stay where you are. I sat at the kitchen table and waited. The coffee grew cold. The clock on the microwave ticked forward. 6:45. 6:52. 7:03. At 7:14, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Patterson, this is Officer Ryan Mills with Oakmont PD. We've executed the search warrant at your residence. We need you to come to the station to provide a statement. Is she? Your wife has been taken into custody. So has Michael Brennan. Detective Briggs will brief you when you arrive. I ended the call and sat there for another minute. Then I stood up, grabbed my keys and drove to the police station. The building was brick and glass, 3 stories, American flag out front. I'd driven past it 1,000 times and never been inside. The lobby was bright and sterile. A desk sergeant took my name and made a call. 2 minutes later, Detective Briggs appeared. Mr. Patterson, come with me. She led me down a hallway to a small conference room. Janet Whitmore was already there, legal pad open in front of her. David, she said. Sit down. I sat. Detective Briggs closed the door and took the chair across from me. Your wife and Michael Brennan are both in custody. We recovered recording equipment from your home office and the wellness center, along with financial records matching what you provided. Brennan's apartment yielded additional evidence, including correspondence with several of the victims. What happens now? They'll be arraigned this afternoon. The DA is charging both with extortion, blackmail, wire fraud, and violations of patient confidentiality laws. Given the amount of money involved and the number of victims, they're looking at significant prison time. I nodded. We'll need your full statement. Everything you discovered, how you discovered it, timeline of events. This will take a few hours. Okay, Janet leaned forward. David, Emily's going to be assigned a public defender. That attorney will likely try to claim you had access to plant evidence. That's why it's crucial we establish your timeline and whereabouts. I understand. Detective Briggs opened a folder. Let's start from the beginning. When did you first suspect something was wrong? I looked at the blank wall behind her and started talking. The arraignment happened faster than I expected. Tuesday morning, just 4 days after the arrests. I sat in the back of the courtroom, 3 rows behind the prosecutor's table. Janet had told me I didn't need to be there, but I wanted to see Emily's face when the charges were read. She walked in wearing an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed in front of her. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. No makeup. She looked smaller somehow, diminished without the careful presentation she'd maintained for years. Brennan came in separately, same orange jumpsuit. He was taller than I'd imagined from the surveillance photos. Mid-40s, graying at the temples. He didn't look at Emily. The judge was a woman in her 60s named Patricia Lawson. She had reading glasses on a chain around her neck and a reputation, according to Janet, for running an efficient courtroom. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Emily Jean Patterson, the clerk announced. Emily's public defender stood beside her, a young guy, maybe 30, with a cheap suit and an overstuffed briefcase. The prosecutor read the charges. Count 1, extortion. Count 2, criminal use of communication facility. Count 3, theft by unlawful taking. Count 4, criminal conspiracy. Count 5, unauthorized practice of law. Count 6, violations of the Professional Counselor Practice Act. The list went on. 18 counts in total, mirroring the 18 couples they'd identified from the records. Judge Lawson looked over her glasses at Emily. How does the defendant plead? Not guilty, Your Honor. Emily's voice was steady, professional. The same voice she'd used when lying to me about working late. Brennan's arraignment was identical. Same charges, same not guilty plea. His attorney was older, better dressed, probably private counsel. The bail hearing came next. The prosecutor argued for high bail. Your Honor, these defendants engaged in a systematic, sophisticated criminal enterprise spanning 5 years. They exploited vulnerable individuals in therapeutic relationships, using their most private confessions for financial gain. The Commonwealth has evidence of over $400,000 in offshore accounts. Flight risk is significant, Emily's public defender countered. Your Honor, my client has no criminal record. She has 2 minor children and deep ties to the community. She's lived in Oakmont her entire adult life. Her passport has already been surrendered. The Commonwealth's characterization of the defendant maintained a secret professional identity for 6 years, the prosecutor interrupted. She obtained credentials, established a business, and conducted an extensive criminal operation without her own husband's knowledge. This demonstrates both sophisticated deception capability and access to resources we haven't yet identified. Judge Lawson set bail at $250,000 for Emily, $300,000 for Brennan. I watched Emily's face. She didn't react, just nodded slightly, like she'd expected it. They led her out through the side door. She didn't look at the gallery, didn't see me sitting there. Janet called that afternoon. The victims are organizing, she said. 17 of the 18 couples have contacted the prosecutor's office. They're discussing a class action civil suit. I was in my truck, parked outside Brandon's school waiting for dismissal. Against Emily and Brennan? And potentially against the building owner where she operated the office. Anyone who could be held liable for the privacy violations. They're talking to a firm that specializes in data breach litigation. How much are we talking about? Millions, potentially. Emotional distress, breach of fiduciary duty, violations of privacy rights. And that's before punitive damages. One of the couples, the Kimballs, he's a state senator. His confession included details about a DUI he covered up 15 years ago. That's now public record because of the criminal investigation. His career is over. I watched kids streaming out of the building. Brandon wasn't among them yet. What does this mean for the divorce? It complicates things. Emily's assets are going to be frozen pending the criminal and civil proceedings. The offshore accounts are already seized. If she's convicted, she'll likely serve time. We need to think about what you want long-term custody to look like. I want full custody. That's realistic given the circumstances. But you'll need to consider whether you want to pursue any financial settlement from the marriage assets, or if you want to focus solely on the children and let the creditors fight over whatever's left. Brandon emerged from the building, backpack slung over one shoulder. He was talking to another kid, laughing about something. I don't want anything that came from what she did, I said. The house is in both our names. We can sell it, split whatever equity exists from before she started the blackmail operation. Everything else, I don't care. I'll draw up a proposal, but David, you need to understand. The publicity is going to get worse. The victims are going public. Channel 4 has already reached out to several of them. This is going to be a major story. I know. Your children are going to hear things at school. You should prepare them. Brandon reached the truck and opened the door. He tossed his backpack in and climbed into the passenger seat. I have to go, I told Janet. We'll talk tomorrow. I ended the call. Brandon was buckling his seatbelt. Who was that? He asked. Work stuff. He accepted this without question. We'd been keeping things vague. Mom was away for a while, dealing with some problems. Brandon knew something was wrong, but not what. Olivia thought Emily was on a work trip. Can we get pizza tonight? Brandon asked. Sure. Can we eat in the living room and watch a movie? It's Tuesday, school night. Please? We never do anything fun anymore. I looked at him. 9 years old, brown hair that needed cutting, Emily's eyes. He'd been quieter the past few days, more clingy. Okay, I said. Pizza and a movie. But you still have to do homework first. He grinned. Deal. Wednesday morning, the story broke. I was making breakfast when my phone started buzzing. Text messages from people I hadn't talked to in years. My sister Julie called twice before 7 a.m. I didn't answer. Just poured cereal for the kids and got them ready for school. The local news website had it as the lead story. Marriage counselor arrested in elaborate blackmail scheme. Emily's professional headshot, the one from her secret website, was displayed prominently. She was smiling in the photo, professional and trustworthy. The article detailed the charges, the number of victims, the amount of money. It mentioned that she'd maintained a secret identity for years. It quoted Detective Briggs. This represents a profound violation of trust. These individuals sought help for their marriages and instead became victims of a calculated criminal enterprise. By noon, the national outlets had picked it up. CNN ran a segment. The headline read, "Therapist's Double Life: How One Woman Exploited Her Client's Deepest Secrets." My phone kept buzzing. I turned it off. Travis came by the office around 2. I was reviewing an estimate for a commercial HVAC installation, trying to focus on something normal. "You doing okay?" he asked. "Fine. You want to talk about any of this?" "No." He sat down anyway. "The guys are asking questions. They've seen the news. Tell them it's personal and I'm handling it. They're worried about the business, whether this affects us." I looked up from the estimate. "Why would it affect us?" "Come on, man. Your wife was running a blackmail operation. People are going to wonder if you knew, if you were involved." "I wasn't." "I know that. But clients might not. We work in people's homes. Trust matters." He was right. I hadn't thought about it, but he was right. "What do you want me to do?" I asked. "Maybe put out a statement, something brief. Just making it clear that you had no knowledge of her activities and you're cooperating fully with the investigation. Janet should handle that." "Then call Janet." I called her. She agreed to draft something and send it to our business clients and to the local media. A simple statement. David Patterson had no knowledge of his wife's criminal activities, was fully cooperating with law enforcement, and requested privacy for his family during this difficult time. It felt inadequate. But what else was there to say? Thursday afternoon, Emily made bail. Her parents posted it. I found out from Detective Briggs, who called to give me a heads up. "She's on house arrest with electronic monitoring," Briggs said. "She can't leave her parents' residence except for court appearances and meetings with her attorney. No contact with any of the victims. No contact with Brennan." And the judge added a provision. "No contact with you or the children except through supervised visitation arranged by the court." She asked to see them? Her attorney requested it during the bail hearing. The judge said it could be arranged through family services, but not until after the psych evaluation. Psych evaluation? Standard procedure given the nature of the charges. They want to assess whether she poses any danger to herself or others. I thought about Emily in her parents' house, wearing an ankle monitor. Her father was a retired accountant. Her mother taught piano lessons. They lived in a small ranch house in Wilkinsburg, about 20 minutes away. They'd called me once, the day after Emily's arrest. Her mother had cried, said there must be some mistake. Her father had asked if I'd spoken to Emily, if I knew what was really going on. I'd told them to talk to her attorney and hung up. "How long until trial?" I asked Briggs. "Months, maybe a year. The prosecutor is building an airtight case. Every victim needs to be interviewed, every recording authenticated, every financial transaction documented. And that's assuming she doesn't take a plea deal." "You think she will?" "Depends on what they offer. But with this much evidence, her attorney would be smart to negotiate." After the call ended, I sat in my truck outside Olivia's school. Pickup wasn't for another 10 minutes. Emily was out. Living with her parents, monitored and restricted, but out. The woman I'd been married to for 11 years. The mother of my children. The stranger who'd built an entire secret life. I didn't know what to feel about it. Mostly, I just felt tired. The divorce was finalized on a Thursday in October, 14 months after I'd found that first text message. Emily pled guilty to 6 felony counts in exchange for the prosecution dropping the rest. She got 8 years, eligible for parole after 5. Brennan took his case to trial and lost. He got 12. I sat in the courtroom for Emily's sentencing. The judge asked if I wanted to make a statement. I declined. What was there to say that hadn't already been said by the 17 couples who'd stood up one by one, describing how Emily had taken their vulnerability and weaponized it? Brandon was 11 now, Olivia 8. They saw Emily once a month at the county correctional facility, supervised visits in a room with plastic chairs and vending machines. Brandon stopped asking when she was coming home after the first year. Olivia still asked sometimes, usually at night when she was tired. I told them the truth, age-appropriate versions of it. Mom made bad choices. Mom hurt people. Mom has to face consequences. They'd learn the full details eventually. The internet never forgets. But for now, they knew enough. The house sold in June. We moved into a smaller place in Fox Chapel, closer to Julie. 3 bedrooms, a yard big enough for a swing set. No memories of Emily in every room. The civil suit settled for $2.3 million. Emily's parents lost their retirement savings posting her bail. The offshore accounts were seized and distributed among the victims. It wasn't enough. You can't put a price on betrayed trust. But it was something. I kept the business running. Travis became a full partner. We hired 2 more technicians. Work was steady, reliable, honest. I found comfort in that. In furnaces that broke for clear reasons and could be fixed with the right parts and enough patience. Some nights, after the kids were asleep, I'd sit in the living room and think about the marriage I thought I'd had. The woman I thought I'd known. I'd spent months trying to identify the moment it had gone wrong, the sign I'd missed, the conversation that might have changed everything. Eventually, I stopped looking for it. The truth was simpler and harder than that. Emily had made her choices. She'd built her secret practice, targeted vulnerable couples, recorded their confessions, and extracted money from their pain. She'd done it methodically, deliberately, for years. And she'd been good at it. Good at the compartmentalization, the lies, the double life. I hadn't missed warning signs. There hadn't been any. She'd simply been that skilled at deception. That realization didn't bring peace exactly. But it brought clarity. On a Saturday in November, I took Brandon and Olivia to the park. The same park we'd gone to that evening before everything fell apart. Brandon was too old for the swings now, but he pushed Olivia anyway, making her shriek with laughter. The autumn air was cool and sharp, leaves crunching underfoot. "Higher, Daddy!" Olivia called. I gave her another push and watched her arc into the sky, fearless and laughing. This was what remained. 2 kids who needed stability, honesty, and a parent who showed up. A business that served people fairly. A life rebuilt from wreckage, smaller than before but solid. No grand revelations, no philosophical epiphanies about trust or marriage or human nature. Just this. We survive what we survive. We protect what matters. And we keep going, because the alternative is unthinkable. Brandon helped Olivia down from the swing. They ran toward the jungle gym, racing each other, arguing about who'd won. I followed them across the playground, leaves swirling in the November wind, and thought about nothing but what came next. Dinner, homework, bedtime stories. Tomorrow and the day after that, and all the days that would follow. One at a time, until they added up to something that looked like a life.